Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Rec at Home, brought to you by the Community Recreation Division of Arlington County Parks and Rec. My name is Miss Lizzie, and today I am going to show you how to make these cool floating chalk prints. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started with the materials. First off, we're going to need a shallow tray or a dish. Next, we'll need some type of tool to scrape our chalk. We'll also need, of course, our chalk. We'll need a couple of sheets of watercolor paper. I just have 2 here. Some gloves. And some water. You can also optionally use some oil pastels. Now that we have everything we need, let's get started. I've already put on my gloves, so the first thing I'm going to do for the project is pour my water into my tray. I'm just putting enough to cover the very bottom of my tray here. For my next step, I'm going to choose a chalk color. I think I'll go with blue. And I'm going to grab my scraping tool, which could be anything like a little butter knife or a popsicle stick, and I'm just going to start scraping my chalk into the water like this. And notice how I'm keeping it nice and close to the very top of the water. I'm trying to not get chalk everywhere. And also definitely not trying to wet my chalk. So I got red now, and I'm going to just start chopping. I really want to load up this water with chalk, so I'm really going a little ham here. Cool. And maybe some green. That looks good. And finally, actually, I think I need a little more red. And now a little bit of black. Now that I'm happy with how much chalk is in the water, I'm going to grab my watercolor paper and press it right onto the surface of the water. I'm not pushing it all the way in, I'm just making sure every part of the front of my watercolor paper has touched the water. Now I'm going to lift. And I'm going to let some of the water fall off to the side. And ooh, here we go. Alright, so this is our floating chalk print. Now I'm going to let this chalk print rest and dry up so that the chalk is nice and adhered to the paper. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little experiment with wax resist and an oil pastel. In a previous video in February, Miss Liz told you what a wax resist was and how this method kind of works. Essentially, the water that we're using with our chalk prints doesn't want to mix with the oil or the wax in an oil pastel or crayon. So whatever we design with this isn't going to pick up any of the color, and this is going to pop through any of the bursts of colors we can get in the chalk print. So I've decided to do a little galaxy, so I'm just drawing a bunch of little stars on my watercolor paper here, and I'm going to basically repeat all of the steps I did before. I'm grabbing my tray and my water. I got a fresh tray so I can start with some different colors. Pouring my water like we did before, and I'm just going to fast forward through this part because you're familiar. We're just going to do the exact same thing where we scrape some chalk onto the water until we're satisfied, until all the water is nice and filled up with chalk. And I'll meet you back when I am testing out this print. And now that I'm caught back up with the present, I have my watercolor paper here, and I'm doing the same thing as before, putting it face down into the water, making sure everything touches the paper, and and dropped it. Think it's okay? There we go. Whoa, and I have my own little galaxy right here in my hands. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed the project. Be sure to check out our other videos for more fun arts, and thanks again for tuning in to Rec at Home. Bye!